Welcome to my channel. I just wanted to talk a little bit about things I do to save money. And I have a list here. So I've been thinking about this a lot and I just wanted to share some ideas. What things do you do to save money? As you get older, many of us are on a fixed income and we have to do cutbacks here or there. So if it's not something that's going to impact your life too much, then why not save a couple of dollars? All right, so let me get started. One of the things I do to save money is when my produce, before it starts to go bad, I dehydrate it. And that way I can save it and put it in soups or, it'll last a lot longer in the dried state. So that's one of the things I do. I hate to throw food away, and so that's one thing. Another thing I do is I try to plan a menu around my older food. In other words, if I have a dish of leftovers that I have sitting in the fridge, and I'm tired of eating it the way it is, let's say I have some veggie burgers or something like that, then I try to come up with a different recipe, maybe add some rice and chop it up, or chop it up and put it in some spaghetti sauce over pasta, or throw in some Mexican spices and put it in a tortilla. So that's what I try to do with some of the leftovers I had that I don't want to eat for 5 days in a row. I cut and color my own hair. Now right now my hair's long, but sometimes I cut it shorter. And there are a lot of YouTube videos out there that are tutorials on how to cut your own hair. Now I have to admit, I was a hairdresser, so I've been doing my hair like that for years and years. But it is a way to save money. And coloring your own hair is not that difficult. I've been doing it myself too. So that's another thing I do to save money. I try to minimize trips to the store. In other words, I only go to the store maybe twice a month, maybe 3 times a month instead of a couple times a week. And when I do go to the store, I try to set a route so that I can stop at multiple stores at one time. So that also saves gasoline and I don't have to fill up that often. I don't drive a whole lot. In the summer I do. I go up to where we have a boat. So over the weekend, and I'll spend the weekend there. But other than that, in the winter, I don't drive that much, and I try to combine as many things as I can. If I go visit my daughter, I'll plan a trip to the store that's near there. And so that saves a lot of money, not only on food, but also on gasoline. And when I'm not in the store, I don't spend money. So that's a big way that I save money. Another thing that I do to save money, I shop my closet. I have a lot of clothes that I've accumulated over the years. I'm very lucky because my shape hasn't changed that much. So I have some things that are in my closet that I've had in there for 20 years, and if it's something I like, why get rid of it? And I try to pick classic styles rather than real trendy styles. So that saves money too because you can wear your clothes longer. Another thing I do to save money is I wear my clothes more than once. Not so much in the summer because you perspire more and things, but in the winter, when you're inside most of the time and you're cold anyway, I try and wear my clothes more than once. It saves on laundry detergent. It also saves on your clothes because the more you wash your clothes, the quicker they wear out. So, as long as they're clean and neat, I don't wash them all the time. I'll wear them a couple times. Same thing with my bath towels. I don't wash those every time that I use them. My body's clean after I wash it, so I don't wash my bath towel every time that I take a shower. Um, Another thing that I do, and this is related to food again, I will take veggie scraps if I'm trimming an onion or, doing anything like that. I wash it, and before I cut it, same thing with carrots or celery, and then I save those scraps, put them in a baggie, and stick them in my freezer. And then when I have enough to make veggie broth, then I put it all in a big pot and I cook it, till there's not much left. And of course, you throw those away. It's not something you want to eat after that. But it makes a great veggie broth, and it's a great way to save money, and you don't have as much garbage either. Another thing that I will do in the summer, I will put scraps I start a compost pile. Now I live in a townhouse, so I don't have a real big, huge yard, but pretty much anybody can buy a little composter and stick it in your backyard. And if you have veggie scraps, just put them in there if you don't want to make veggie broth out of them. Another thing I do to save money, I like kombucha. I've been drinking it for years, and recently I've started drinking water kefir, and I make my own. It's so easy. I have a tutorial on how to make it. Tea bags, black, green, whatever. You can buy those so cheap. The kombucha doesn't care. It doesn't have to be high-end tea bags. So I make my own kombucha, and it saves me $3 a bottle, and I don't drink pop, so that's another way I save money. I buy water enhancers. I don't like just plain water, but I do like a little flavor in my water, so I will buy water enhancers with stevia in it, and that way I save money on pop. So I don't buy real high-end coffee. I don't go to Starbucks. Once in a great while, I'll stop and get a McDonald's flavored coffee, but that's not very often either. I usually just take my own. I have a to-go cup and I put it in that, and I like my coffee. So I've been drinking Folgers coffee for years. I think it makes a great cup of coffee. So that's another way that I save money. Um, Another way I save money is I keep a very well-stocked pantry. That way I'm not constantly running out to the store. If I run out of ingredients, it doesn't happen very often, so I have pretty much anything that I want to cook, I have the ingredients for it. And rotating my stock keeps it fresher, and I try to replace it as I use things up, and that's another way to save money. I usually try to make my own veggie protein since I'm vegetarian. I try and cook vegan most of the time, and a lot of the pre-made vegetarian vegan meats are pretty expensive. They actually cost probably more than meat does. Not that that's the reason why, but so I make my own. I make seitan. I make veggie burgers with whatever I have on hand. Um, I like to invent recipes, so I make a lot of my own proteins. That way I don't have to rely on store-bought, again, saving trips to the store. And when you do buy the vegan meats, they're such small portions, they don't last very long. So I'll portion out the meats that I make, and then I freeze what I'm not going to eat right away. So I make my own lunch meat, and I've started making my own cheeses. It requires some work, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it. So that's another way that I save money. Um, I like to burn candles. I burn them every day, and I usually burn more than one. I'll burn at least a couple of them. And they don't always burn down all the way to the bottom. There'll always be a little bit of wax left in the bottom. So I have a coffee cup warmer that I use that um, I put the candle on there in the jar and I melt that, and I buy my wicks at Michael's, or any craft store will carry wicks, and I reuse the jars, and I melt the wax on the coffee warmer, and then I just layer the candle. I'll put the wick in and I layer the candles up in the jar as they burn down. So that's one way that I save money. Um, let's see, another way I save money is to freeze some of the leftovers. If I make spaghetti or chili or whatever, then that's usually too much for me. I'm not a real big eater, so I'll portion it out and I'll freeze different portions of it, and then I always have a quick meal to fall back on. So that's another thing I do to save money. And last but not least, I'm a bit of a kitchen gadget junkie. I love kitchen gadgets. I always have to have the latest thing. So, but what I'll do is I'll wait until it's been around for a while, and then I'll buy things like that at the outlet stores. There's Ollie's, Mark's carries, a lot of these types of things. So that's another thing I do to save money. And I also very rarely pay high prices for my clothes. I'll shop around. Um, I make different combinations with what I have. So those are some of the things that I do to save money. So leave some comments in the box below and let me know some of the things that you do to save money, and share with the rest of us. And I'm always looking for ideas, and hopefully we can exchange some great ideas. Okay, that's all I have for now. So thanks for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.